Hi everybody, this is Mama Sue, and today we're going to make some accessories to put on your bags and your cards and stuff. We're going to make buttons. Buttons are getting kind of expensive nowadays, so now I get busy and make my own buttons. I've got two different ways that I make buttons. The way I like to make them the best is like this, to make them look aged. And then, see, I have a few more of those in here. See how puffy they are? These look more like real buttons, but they look aged. I really like making them like this. Here's a little bow through it. It looks cute on a bag like that. But anyway, let's get on this. I'm going to show you how I do this. Here's some I just dried, but they're thinner ones. You can make any kind, and it's so easy to make. Some of them now these ones here, like this, and like this. These were done with a, oh no, not that one, this one. These were done with a punch here. You know, just like one of these. But on these, you're not going to want to cut cardboard with the punch, because these will wear, the punch will wear out if you use it to cut through cardboard. It's best to just cut several pieces of like cardstock or from a folder, like I've done here, and then you glue the paper to it. I'll show you that. On the other ones, on the round punch, if you have a round punch like this, that's really handy to use. But my favorite way to do it is doing it by hand, because they come out more, oh, I don't know, they just have more of an antique-y look to them when you do them by hand. These I did all by hand. And the only punch I needed was just to punch the holes in the buttons. And this is like half the size of a regular hole punch. Sorry, my voice is kind of crackly. And here's some that some of those ones with the punch, I just kind of antique these ones a little bit. What I did to do that is I mixed some water and some paint together, and then just went around the edges and then moved my fingers around like this, and I just left them to dry. Then when they were dry, I used water-based polyurethane, because it doesn't have an odor, and so I can use it indoors, and it lasts a long time. I just used a semi-gloss here because I don't like them being too shiny on the buttons. But if you want to later, you can take nail polish, or you can take some of your diamond glaze or any kind of shiny product and paint over it. But this way they're sealed, and they're going to just last real nice like that. Now what I've started doing also, instead of just, I wanted to show you that here. No, that's not the ones. I guess I don't have them here. But anyway, when I make buttons, whether they be with a punch or whether they be by hand, I'm getting to where I like to do them where there's a different color on each side, so I have a choice of what. I don't have to do as many buttons, and I still have lots of choices on which ones I want to use with my project. Now, here, these were punched out here. And where is my punch for the, oh, here it is. Now see, I did this one with the cardstock, and I just glue, I like them a little thicker. You can make them as thick as you want to, but I only go 2 or 3 if I'm doing it with this, because I don't do it this way very often. I normally, this is my glue here. I'm going to put this on the side. This is my glue. I normally just put a little glue on there, kind of rub it together, and then line them up to where they match, to where all the edges match. That's just on the ones that you're punching that are a special. Here's another one. I just put that together and it's matching. And this is an extra piece. I'll just put it on one of these. Just to make one of them thicker. The thicker you go, it's going to be nicer at the end. What I do like using is cardboard. Now, this was made with cardboard. See how thick that is? That one was made with cardboard. I like doing it with the cardboard because you get those indentations when you push down with your punch. You get an indentation in there and it makes it look more like a button. Like see how that's pushed in some? That's because when I pushed in on this, because the cardboard is thick, it puts those little impressions like it's been embossed. I like that. It turns out real nice. Now on these, what I like to do, what I was telling you, is I like to put one color on one side, like this. See, I'm just trying to meet the edges. Try to bring it as close as I can to right in the right spot. It's a little more work doing these ones that have edges on them like this. Now, if I wanted to, I'm going to go with my brown paint. I'm just going to dab these edges. That's just paint and water. Brown paint and water. Right here. It's acrylic paint. That's all I'm using. Nothing expensive. Now I'm just going around the edge. I really made the paint really watery because I don't want to put like paint on it. I just want it to be aged a little. And I just kind of move my finger around a little bit just to darken it up a little bit here and there. Now see how that's already made a difference. Just touching it up a little bit. You could even go around the edge if you wanted to and wipe some off. And put more on. However you want to do that. Now that looks like enough to me. Now I've got kind of a purple on one side with the stripes, and I've got the blue on the other. Now I'm going to set this down and let this dry while I'm doing another. And this time I'm going to use the cardboard. This was from a cereal box. Tricks. See, Tricks is not just for kids. Even us crafters use them. Now normally what I do with this is I'll put glue on here and I'll take the two colored sides and push them together. Then it gives me a little heavier button. See there? Then I'll put the glue on the top. Well, I don't know where the one went for this. Well, I have things cut out here. And now I don't. But that's all right. I have paper right here to cut some out. Now these are just two plain pieces of paper. I'm going to use this so I can have two different colors in case I want to use one kind one time and one kind another on different projects. See, now I have a choice of whether I want to use the pink or the button side. See there? Now if I want to, I normally wait till they're dry before I start doing that, putting a little brown on them. I normally wait till they're dry. A lot of these haven't been done yet, but I normally like them to have that look. I'm going to set this down and let it dry. And then here's the other one. But it's really neat when you can have two different buttons with each button. Like I can use this side or I can use this side as a button, whichever one I choose. And that way I don't take up so much room either in my crafts. Set that down there. Always have a washcloth nearby to wipe off the glue off your fingers. And then I'm going to put this aside because I don't have those cutouts. But see how these are colored on one side? Now this one I already glued together, but I like to glue two together because that makes a pretty hard button. I don't like to go over that with this. I like to, if I want it thicker, I'll use cardboard. But I won't use cardboard with this. I'll use it when I do them by hand, so that they come out fat like these. I don't have cardboard to show you today. Oh, excuse me. But I am going to make some buttons anyway and show you what we got. Okay, now this I really like because see how there's, when you buy the paper that's got two different sides, see how I've got two different sides? Now I've got multi-choices on what I want to do with these different buttons here, because I need to just turn one. I can use just these two and I can make two different buttons. See there? It's two different colored buttons. One's light blue and one's dark blue. I'm going to put the light side on. I hope you're understanding what I'm saying. See, like on one side I've got this color blue. Oops, I got the same color. Turn it over. There we go. I got the light blue on one side. It's kind of got a little design in it. And then I've got this on the other side. So I've got two different buttons. Let that dry. Now this is just with the ones that you cut out. I'm not as fond of the ones that you cut out. I like to cut my own, even though it's harder on your hands, but they come out really unique. Okay, now this one's two different colors. I'm going to do the blue on this side and the purple on the other. See how I've got two different buttons with one button. So I have multi-choices when I go through my button thing, when I've made it two different colors. I'm sure there's times that if you're having a dangly or something, you're probably going to want to go with double colors. But for this, there's no sense in it. Okay, I'm going to do one more. What color will I use? I'll go. Oh, I know what I'll use. I don't have it over here. But I have plenty of paper. I'll just use this one because it's double-sided. I'm going to Stretch it out. There's both your sides. Now that's 2 different buttons. You see? I've got 2 different buttons there on one button. Now these are going to sit around and dry a little bit while I show you the others. Now I'm going to show you how to do them by hand. I think you'll really enjoy those buttons because they're just, I don't know, they just look more antique-y. What I do is I take a cereal box and I glue the 2 pieces together. We'll do that right now. Well, how about I just take the glue and do it. What you're going to do is glue these together. The colored sides together so that you have the brown on the outside. So if anything, you don't have to worry about anything showing through when it's dry. Then normally I wait till this dries, but I'm going to cut it for you right now. Then I cut myself, maybe a small line paper, and then maybe a little bit bigger and then bigger. Just different sizes. Because then I have different sides. Now if this was dry, this wouldn't be moving around like this. But for this is just to show you what to do. And then I start cutting them up into the size that the button's going to be, or similar to. Now mind you, I do this with cardboard as well, but the cardboard I don't have to glue pieces together because it's nice and fat already. And it gives you that nice embossed look when it's done too. Then I set these aside to dry. Here's the last one. I don't mind cutting up a bunch of these and just leaving them set aside. So it looks so darn cute on your cards. But that's what I used, Cheerio box. Now this is the way I like to do them, the way I'm doing it right now. Cutting these up. I'm going to get some dry ones over here. I put the other ones aside to dry, but here's some dry ones. No, I'm not going to cut all these out right now, but I'm going to cut some of them out. I'm going to make this one a little smaller, like that. Then I'm just going to hang on to it, and I'm just going to start hand cutting, just around my finger, like I'm cutting around my finger. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Just try to get it as round as you can. Now that's round enough for me. That makes me happy. Let me get another one. I want to get a few of them because I want you to see what I'm doing with them. Because they're very cool. Now I'll make a little bigger button. I tend to use the smaller buttons the most. The bigger ones I normally use on packages or on flowers and stuff. But the little ones I use, the bigger ones I normally use, I put bows in them, like this. Like I'm putting a bow in here. That one has a bow in it. But the smaller ones, I just like using the other ones. I even use the buttons for eyeballs when I'm doing a project and I'm making a funny card or something. Now, here's a few. Here's a few here. Now, you can cut this cardboard any way you want it. You can have a square button, round button, heart button, whatever you want. I'm just partial to the round ones. So I'm just cutting the round ones for me. Oh, I think that's enough for for our demonstration. Now what I like to use to make the antique ones, I'll put this aside here, is I like to use crepe paper. Crepe paper is the stuff like, that just pools, and you can use that, or you can use streamers, like party paper that's streamers. Same thing as this. I'm going to open it up and put some glue on this. Just set it down there. Just like that. I'm going to cut around this a little bit, kick some of this off. Put some glue on there. Just start rolling up these edges toward the back. Now, like I told you, I like to use the cardboard for this because it comes out a lot better. Now, my front would probably be the side that I'm squishing upward, where all the pieces are pushed up front. It just looks really cool, especially if you decide to put a little brown paint on there and antique them. But see how that is? You can always use the other side too. It's up to you. Then you set this down and let it dry. You can always put more on if you want to make the other side. I'll do that. I'll put a little more glue right there. I'm just going to grab these scraps, put the scraps on here. Well, that's just getting me a little more dimension here. Now my fingers are too sticky. If your fingers are too sticky, you can't do that. Believe me, this gets easier. Well, I'm going to let that dry and then we'll come back. Anyway, let me show you some of these other colors, how they kind of turn out. I really like the crepe paper or streamer paper. Put a little glue on your button, lay it on your crepe paper, cut some of it off, and you can use those little pieces on other buttons, so you don't need to get rid of it. Don't have to throw away anything. You gotta kind of be careful with this. This is really old crepe paper that I have here because it's from a yard sale. I got it at one time. And I've just used it like crazy. I'll take it and put it in glue and make the glue make me a paint color because there's so much color in this stuff. Now this one is going to be fun when it's done because it's kind of falling apart. But see how that is? But no, I don't want it falling that much apart. But as it starts drying, it'll look really good when it's dry. And it's going to look antique-y even without me antiquing it. Because that's the way this one is. The old stuff looks really worn, and I love it. Let me get another color. Now see that color in that? If you put that in glue, you can make the glue that color. Then you can paint something with that paper. It's amazing. And it stains too. Isn't that cool? Okay, let's get a pink one here. But I really like this stuff a lot. It's one of my favorite things to use. And on cardboard, it's really excellent on cardboard. You know what I'm going to do? So I'm going to take a piece, put it on my underside, kind of messy, like that. Just going to put a messy piece on there, put some glue on it. Then sit this on it. Then I can do that. Then I can have the bottom side kind of nice without having to mess with it too much. See how all I'm doing is folding the paper up. I'm just folding it. This crepe paper, it soaks right through it. And it kind of turns into like a putty if you mess with it enough. So you got to be careful. But let me show you. See how it's kind of puttying up? It'll make a nice button. And then you've still got some work of art on the other side. Because we put that little piece in there, that made a difference. That made quite a bit. It gave it more texture, putting that piece in there. That's why I did that. I'm remembering how to do them as I do. I haven't done them in a while. Okay, I'm going to do 2 more of those and then come back and maybe those will be dry enough that I can put holes in them and show you. Okay, what color shall I use next? I will use a green. We haven't done a green one yet. Okay, put a little piece on the back side. Just a little something that's going to give it a little more texture. Because these flat pieces, I just don't like the flat pieces. I like the cardboard the best. If you can get a thin cardboard, that even works the best. Like a cardboard box that's thin. I think I can get one at Walmart, but at work, I can always get it at work. When I'm at work, I can find one that's thin. And you can use the thicker ones too. Just pull a piece of it off. You know how you can pull cardboard apart? Pull some of it off, as much as you need, for however thick you want it. Now I'm squishing it down. I'm just squishing that glue into the paper. See how that's coming out? Now it's getting gushy now because I've pushed that glue in there. And I want it to be like that. That'll be more antique when it's dry. That's why I like to go that route. These I don't have to do too much antiquing with because when they dry, they kind of dry like that, like they've been treated. Now it's cut to my finger. As long as you don't mind glue on your fingers and you have a washcloth close by, you'll be in good shape. Now we got one left. Let me see, what will we do with that one? How about an orange? See, I have lots of this kind of paper, so I had to figure out something to do with it. Yeah, I can pull that and make it. That's what's neat too, is you can pull it and make it bigger. big enough to fit your button. Get some more glue. You don't need all the machines. I know I have the buttonholders coming in the mail. But the thing is I realize now that I've tried it both ways that the Martha Stewart buttonholders, you're going to have to glue one to another to get the effect you want. But what you can do is with the one that's embossed, you can put your paper over that embossment and it's going to look just like a button. I mean, you can put this, I know that I can put this paper over it and it'll look beautiful. So I'm kind of excited about that. I love punches. I don't get them very often. See there? It's going to be nice when it's done. That one almost looks yellow. Okay, let's go back to the first ones. I got to put some punches in there. Well, these are sticking to my paper. Doesn't matter if it gets a little falling apart because you can always touch it up before you do anything with it. Or if you antique it, it's going to be gone anyway. So it really doesn't matter. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to put holes in it. Buttonholes. So I'm going to put it in here. Take it. Look at it sideways to see about where it is. And punch. Pull it out. Turn it around. Punch the other side. Voila! I'm going to do that with all of these. As you know, these are not my favorite here, although they make great buttons on things. I like the other ones the best. I like the other ones when they're made with cardboard the best because of the effect you get when see how thick that is? It looks really cool when it's with cardboard. You can use either side. I use both sides. See there? Now I'd probably use that side. But with these still a little bit wet. That's why I'm getting the problem there. But for the sake of the video, not being 3 hours long, like most of my videos, I just thought I'd give you a quick go by here. Now see, you don't even have to have the buttons actually even. If you want to, also, you can take, just anything and put little marks in here to change the style of your button while it's wet. See how it's got impressions in it now? It just changes your button up. You can do anything while they're wet. Or you can, where is it? Here it is. You can take something like this and go around and squash the edges so that you get a little design in there. This is the time you'll do that, right after you've put your holes in or before you put your holes in. But see how that just gives it a different effect. Now when I've antiqued that a little bit, it's going to be really cool. Let me get this in here and get holes. See, that's pretty cool. It'll look good with a bow in it. These all have holes. Now these are still a little wet. I'm not sure if I want to play with those yet. I'm going to give it a whirl. I have to be careful because they're wet. Now when I antique those are going to be awesome when they're antiqued. When I get a little bit brown in there. That's a cool button. Yeah, and this one too. Look at this. Look at this one. Don't those look wild when they have that crepe paper on them? This one's too wet for me to do yet. So is this one. So is this one and this one. Well, these ones will have to wait, but you get the idea. You just put your buttonhole in afterwards. But now, when you go to antique, I like to just do it with my fingers, no big deal. And I'll go around these edges. And these ones that are punched out, you'll see the edges. So I like to go around them like this. Now you could always do it with the crepe paper like I did there. Crepe paper works great on this too. And that's if you want perfect buttons. I don't want perfect buttons because I like the antique type look. Now this one, wherever I had a bad spot, I went over it with that brown, and it kind of, when you see this dry, it's gonna just look antiqued. It's not gonna look like you can see those places where the paint kind of came off. Now that'll be fine when it's done. I'm gonna let that sit and dry. And I'm going to go around the edges of these. Well, that's all. Mainly, I just go around the edge. And then when it kind of antiques itself as I'm going around. I really don't do a lot to it. If I see, see there? Now, if I see a place that looks bad on it, like I see a little chip out of that one, I'll go ahead and put some brown on there. And it just takes it up right then. Just makes it look like it's antiqued. But this is an easy way to make. Now this one I just went over it a little bit just to give it a little more crazy look. And the other side, I think I'm going to leave the other side alone. I like the other side how it is. Around the outside. Now this is just with Cheerios box. Any kind of paper. You can take a magazine and take the colored pieces out of the magazine and use that as your, I'm going to wipe some of that off because I put too much. So you can just wipe it off if you get too much. Well, this part I do on antique because I don't like white. Unless it's a wedding type thing. Yeah, that'd be cool like that. Just go around the edges. The edge is the most important part to get to where it looks, has that little bit of a old-timey look. Like it's gone through a war. I'll show you this one up close now after I get it. Here's the back side. Let me wipe some of that off. See. Here's the front side. Can you see that? I think it looks really cool when it. These look really good when they dry up and you get some gloss on them. that's the main thing I wanted to show you in this video, is that you can use some of your little stamps, and I'm telling you which ones not to. Like this one, you don't want to cut anything but cardstock or just regular paper, because it will ruin them. Anything with any depth in decoration, you're not going to want to mess with. Now, see, this one is the one that we put those little, we squeezed it with my pliers. We squeeze that, and that's how cute that gets from that. I do like that one. Let me see if I can do it with another one. Here's a round one. Let's see how it looks. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. See, because I don't like just the plain round edge. I don't like just it looking like paper is just laying there. I like to give it something that gives it character. This definitely gives it a little character. It's hard on your hands though. See how you can see that? See, it just makes a difference. And if I hit it with a little bit of this. There. I'll do it with this one too, because I just don't like this one. Now I'm just going around the edges. And just squishing it. That's all that's all there is to that. And it's not like you're gonna make 10 buttons for a project. You only use a couple buttons normally in most of your projects, so it's not like you're gonna kill your hand, because you're not doing that many all at once. Although there are times when you do, like if you're gonna do a show like this, you make up a bunch of buttons, and then you or you have your buttons that you've done that before with. These still aren't ready for me to do, but I'm going to go ahead and get out my water right there. Water-based right there. Make sure it's water-based, because the other kind stinks. And I don't know how long it takes for the stench to go away. And it shouldn't be, you shouldn't breathe it. This one's breathable. Now if I don't think I did this one. Yeah, I did. I just don't like it very much. No, I didn't do this one. Just didn't even know that. Well, let's get it while we've got this stuff on it. It's water-based, so it'll go with it. Well, actually, that's kind of cool. Now that the water-based stuff was there. You're going to want to sit this on plastic, though, when it dries, because you don't want it to stick to it and pick up the paper or something else. Now, see, I'm just going around this. Now, if I want to, because this is water-based, I can take a little touch of that brown, put it in here, and add a little bit more antiquing to it. See what I mean? See, I'm just adding a little bit of brown here and there. And then it's kind of making it a little more antiquey. Then I put this glaze. Now this is a semi-gloss, so it won't be real loud. But if I decide I want it loud, I can do that later. I can use something else. But this just seals them real nice. Really gives it a nice seal. And with it being water-based, I can use my finger. Just get my fingers into everything. See how cool that looks? I want you to see the light on it. There you go. See the light in it? Yeah, that looks cool. And that's just from squashing it with my pliers. Like, with my pliers like this. That's just from squashing it. That just makes a huge difference with these buttons. Now I'm just putting a little seal on there. Make sure I get around the edges. Yeah, you can always do that squishing later if you don't like your buttons and you decide you say, oh gosh, I should have done that. You can always do it later. You don't have to do it that minute. I've done a lot of things with them afterwards. Now, see, I'm putting that seal on there. And there you go. Semi-gloss. Oh, I wanted to show you one of these. Now look how this turns out. Look how aged that looks. And that's one of those ones that I really like to do. They look aged. And it gives them a nice, just a nice look. I'm really happy with that. Now I'm going to go ahead and glaze these other ones, even though they're not dry all the way because it's water-based. See there? They just make for a nice. I can put the holes in these later. I'm not worried. But I wanted you to see the gloss before I hang up. Now see, that looks like a really dark aged button. That looks really aged. But when it dries, I'll put my holes in it. Normally I'll let this dry, put my holes, then do this. And I'll just put a second coat on later. But this is water-based, so I don't have to worry. But I wanted you to see just how nice these look. See how they just have an aged look to them, even though they're not done yet. Even though they don't have they don't have that coloring on them. I haven't put anything on these. But there's still a teeny bit on my fingers from touching this earlier. But look how cute those are. Those are going to make nice buttons. And here's the yellow one. Let's get that one done up. And look how little of that sealer I use. I mean, this is kind of expensive for this stuff, but it lasts you forever. And you get things sealed. Then if you want more shine, you can use something else and shine them up. I like to go with semi-gloss because then I can decide whether I want to go with a shine or not later. But see those look antique even without putting an antique color to them. They just have a class all of their own. And that's the ones you make by hand. So anyway, that's what I wanted to show you today. I wanted to show you that you can make your own buttons. And you can use stuff you have around the house. And they just come out adorable. Just get yourself a variety. If you see it at a yard sale, get some. If you see somebody's got things hung up in a party, they have those streamers hung up, ask them if you can take them home after the party. Offer to take them down. You know, a lot of people want to get rid of that stuff, and that's the first thing you do is throw it away. And that's what I use on these buttons. You know, you can buy them in the little packs like this that you put streamers across the wall. You can use tissue paper, works very well. Napkins work very well. I like napkins on this. Let me think. I don't like using Kleenex because it falls apart too easy. You know, but it'll look cool if you use it. You know, I gotta give you that. It will look decent. But anyway, you just cut them up. Save your cereal boxes so that you have something to use. Cereal boxes are great for that. You might want to cut them down and just take one cereal box, and every time you get a cereal box, cut it up, sit it inside your other cereal box. When that fills up, then start throwing things away because you can get carried away and save too much. So I'm just warning you ahead because that will happen to start with, you know, and you don't want to have that happen to you. Anyway, that's what I have for you today. Buttons. Who's got the buttons? Mama Sue does. Okay, you guys have a great day and God bless you.